going to start by taking our minds to another realm for a moment. Now, this isn't a distant place filled with sunshine and daisies. In fact, it's a very tumultuous place. We are entering the mind of a teenager, and it's going to get real, real fast. You are sitting in the front seat of your blue 1996 Isuzu Rodeo. You have all of your possessions in the back seat. Anything that means anything to you, and that's including clothes and toiletries. You're in this position because you witnessed severe domestic violence in your home the night before. And despite doing what you could to keep the situation safe, including calling 911, the offender is back in the home, so you chose to leave. You continue going to high school, and you're early to classes even every day, even though you were sleeping on someone's floor the night before. You have absolutely no idea what the consequences would be if you actually shared your whole story, so you keep silent. You graduate that year with both honors and career and technical education diplomas, so everything's going fine, right? Fast forward 3 years, you're in a relationship, and you saw domestic violence, so even though this relationship isn't all that great all the time, that doesn't mean it's unhealthy, right? I mean, he punches holes in the walls. He backs you into a corner until you admit that he's right. He controls where you go, what you wear, who you talk to. But he loves you unconditionally, so that's love, isn't it? You have a friend who keeps asking you why you're still dating this guy. Every time she gets to talk to you, you're always talking about a new fight that you've had. You see, every why question is going to lead to a defensive answer. It happens naturally, like this. She asks, "Why did he do that today?" You say, "Well, he was tired." She asks, "Why did he do that last week?" You say, "Well, it was just one of those moods, just one of those days." She asks, "Why did he treat you like that?" You say, "It was my fault." Now I'm going to bring it back to reality here because I have something really important to tell you. This is my story. And it wasn't until a friend asked me, "If you started dating this guy today, would you still want to enter a relationship with him?" And I said, "Absolutely not." And it was in that moment I realized I needed to leave that relationship. You see, it wasn't until I answered that question that I realized domestic violence, or teen dating violence, which is what we're talking about today, looks different from the inside out. Like I said, I saw domestic violence. That was obvious. But when I was in the position of defending someone who was verbally abusing me, I lacked the resources and knowledge necessary to know what was really going on. So I'm here today because I'm taking my experience and I'm turning it into a reason to pursue prevention of teen dating violence. Domestic violence is a cycle that can continue beyond the four walls of the home it occurs in. It affects the lives and relationships of everyone in the home, but particularly the youth who are trying to figure out what they deserve in relationships. And so by focusing on the youth in our community, through encouraging positive affirmations, mentoring relationships, and early intervention, we can break the cycle of teen dating violence. So starting with positive affirmations, I will tell anyone that yoga saved my life. It taught me how to control my breathing, which taught me how to control the panic attacks I was having. It taught me to be mindful, to be aware of my mind and my body, and to tell myself that I am worth it. Positive affirmations are statements we repeat to ourselves over and over until we truly believe them. Encouraging positive affirmations in youth helps them to know their worth because it is coming from the inside out. If you can think back to being inside the mind of that teenager, and then to a place where you know you deserve respect and healthy relationships, can you imagine how empowering that is to now be here? And so although positive affirmations are fantastic for everyone, let's start that habit young. Now, for mentoring relationships. I know the mind of a teen can be an intimidating place. But if we care about these teens and we want them to have healthy relationships, we can't be afraid of having those tough, awkward conversations because the truth is their lives are kind of tough and awkward right now. So be available for a teen that you know. This goes for boys too because it's not just girls who are in need of positive role models. It takes two people to be in a relationship, and both sides are deserving of this attention and information. The common discourse surrounding domestic violence relies on the model that the girl is the victim or survivor. And although that primarily is what is reported, we have to be thinking about underreporting and also the stigma associated with any person of any gender identity who is wanting to share their story. These teens are seeking validation that they are doing something right along this journey, and you can be the one to sit down with them, tell them that you care, and hear that story. Build trust in that relationship not by giving advice, but by being there, opening up that space, and validating their worth. For my topic of early intervention, I'm feeling the need to step up onto a soapbox, although I'm feeling this little red dot is a soapbox in and of itself, and say that we need evidence-based curricula to supplement the sexual education our youth are receiving in middle and high schools. This topic falls under the umbrella of teen dating violence and is also something that I experienced. I realized this watch could potentially be watched from all over the world. And if you're in a place where this is currently happening in your community, great. Keep going. But listen to my reasons as to why it is so important. Our sexual education classes need to be coupled with information about respect and consent. We can talk about the act and the diseases and the consequences and any of those topics that are bound to increase the awkwardness in any room. But are we talking about how to say no? Are we talking about how it's okay to say no? That even if you're being threatened, you can say no? That it's never your fault? That even if it's someone you're dating, you can say no? That if this happens to you, you can access resources and get help? Because we need to be talking about these things. If we are going to encourage positive affirmations in our youth, they need to know their worth in every single situation they come across. We can all do more to support the advocacy efforts of organizations who provide potentially life-saving services. I'm asking you to have awkward conversations with teens where you might want to have some tools in your toolbox going in so that you know how to respond appropriately. One national organization with incredibly useful resources is called Break the Cycle. You can write it down, it's breakthecycle.org. I have recently seized some opportunities to assist them in planning their Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, which happens every February. My contributions this year are going to be talking about positive affirmations. I find myself printing out every handout that they have. And now that you know about this resource, you too can utilize those tools and contribute to their efforts if you can, because that is how we raise awareness. I want to thank you all for making the prevention part of my heart beat a little bit stronger today. You now have the ability to leave here, talk about what you heard today, and do something about it, because you have the ability to empower youth in your community and to make a difference in their lives. So master positive affirmations yourself, and then share what worked for you. Take a teen out to lunch and give them that space to have an awkward conversation. Support adding evidence-based curricula to your middle and high schools, and also the advocacy efforts of local, state, and national organizations that surround you. Break the cycle of teen dating violence. Thank you.